In this video, it's a trip down memory lane as I dig deep into this freshly restored Mazda MX-5 Mark 1 owned by a very nice guy called Ryan. And what we're going to do is we're going to explore all around it, go out for a drive, and I'm going to confess my absolute love for these cars. I'm Daniel Acthouse and you're watching Daniel Drives. First of all, let me take you back to 2009, when I was very young. Precisely, I was only 4 years old, living in France, because that's one thing a lot of people don't know about me, is when I was one, me and my family moved to France for about 4 or 5 years before moving back to the UK, just as I was starting primary school. But living in the south of France in the summertime and the spring, it was very hot. The weather was beautiful, the roads were nice. It was a very, very nice town called Valliere. It was beautiful. It's an era of my life I'll never forget. I actually remember quite a lot, surprisingly. But I'll never forget ever me asking my dad where my mum had gone, and he told me that she'd gone to collect our new car. And she came home with one of these. She came home with a Mark 1 MX-5, but it was a Unos Roadster. It was a Japanese import from, the year. What year was it? I want to say 1991, but I'll put it on the screen. And it was British Racing Green, and it was perfect. It was pretty OEM, pretty standard. But I absolutely loved it. But the ownership was quite premature because being a Japanese import, the French were they weren't best pleased with it and they didn't want to register it. So the maximum amount of time you could have a car in another country with foreign plates was 6 months. So we had the MX-5 for those 6 months, and then very, very sadly, it had to go back to the UK to be sold to its next owner. And since then, I have not forgotten that car. It's been on my mind ever since. I loved it. A tan leather interior, it was beautiful. And I've spent the last few years trying to track down our old MX-5. And actually in 2020, during the lockdown, we were all very bored, obviously. I put a message out on the Mazda MX-5 Owners Club on Facebook, asking if anybody knew where the car had gone. Well, I had a message probably 2-3 months ago from the person who owns it today. So we sold it to a guy who did a lot of modifications and maybe ruined it, and he then sold it to another guy who now is trying to get it back to normal, back to its former glory, back to normal. And just ignore what just happened then in front of shot. So I then sent a message saying I want to see the car again and stuff, and he hasn't got back to me, so I'm still working on it. And if he does get back in touch, I'd love to do a video on it. So if you're watching this, please let me. But for now, I'm stood with this. This is a very, very nice, freshly restored, as I said, Mazda MX-5 Mark 1, owned by Ryan. Ryan John Ball 23 on Instagram, and it's got a bit done. It looks immaculate. So we're going to take a look around. I think it looks beautiful. So I arrived here in St Helens in the Panda, which Ryan's going to do a video on for his channel as well. So do go over there and check out that video. And I was waiting for about 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden I heard him arrive because it sounds phenomenal. So obviously pop-up headlights, something that I miss a lot on cars. They were stopped in the early 2000s for safety regulations. They say for pedestrian safety and stuff like that. But I just think such a shame, really, because they added such a great deal to a lot of car design in the 1990s, in particular Porsche 944, cars like that, and these obviously. And I just think these are absolutely timeless now, and they've raised in value a lot as well. They obviously suffer with their rust issues and stuff like that, but very slowly owners like Ryan are starting to restore them, and you go into car shows and you're starting to see some really, really nice condition MX-5s. I'm going to take you around the back of this car. We'll have a look what he's done. So it's so funny, we're filming today in this very picturesque nature reserve thing, and there's a Tesla Model 3 in the background. You've probably seen just outside a shot. And you can program the horns on them to make fart noises and stuff like that. They were just doing that to see our reaction. Very funny. Anyway, here's the back of the MX-5, Mazzy as it's known as, and it's slightly different to how you usually see a Mark 1. Obviously it's got this rear lip spoiler painted in black, and obviously this back section here painted in black as well. Nice selection of stickers. It was restored by Mazda dudes, so if you have an MX-5, check them out, because I feel if you're going to restore one of these cars, you really do need to do it properly, because I've heard stories of other cars having to be restored almost annually, which is just crazy. So if you're going to do it and you're going to spend the money, you may as well do it properly. Spend the money, go to a proper place like Mazda Dudes Limited, check them out, and they will do a proper job. It's well worth doing because we need to keep these cars on the road. Obviously, Auto Alex sticker, tailor-made cars. You can tell that Ryan took Phil, the very, very famous, internet famous MX-5, for inspiration with this car. And I just think it's lovely. I've got to show you this, by the way. These are some show plates that Ryan had made when he goes to shows, and these are Japanese registration plates. It's very cool. He puts these on when he goes to shows, and I just think in photos and stuff it makes it look fantastic. And I'll insert a picture from when he very recently went to Cafe and a Machine and he had them on. I just think that's really cool. I can totally get on board with that. It's just so nice to be walking around one of these cars again after so long, because you forget how small they are. And especially when they're parked next to other cars. Obviously there's a car park with lots of SUVs and other vehicles of that calibre. They are tiny. Cars have grown massively, and I think this follows the sports car formula we need to see returning. Small, compact, slightly low powered, handling focused. I think these are fantastic cars, and not even future classics anymore. They are classics. I'm going to say it. Daniel Drive's claim, these are classic cars now. And I think if you want an MX-5, I think time has now passed to get one cheaply. They have risen in price a lot. But if you want a car to restore and have as a project car, then these are such good cars to consider. Okay, let's climb aboard. This is the first Mark 1 MX-5 I have sat in since ours 15 years ago. I'm now an adult. I was 4 years old. It's ridiculous. And oh my word, I'm a tall guy. I'm 6'2", but this is not bad at all. Very deep. The pedals are quite deep in the footwell, and it just brings it all back to me. It really, really does. Everything just falls into place. Tiny gear knob right by the steering wheel. This is a Momo steering wheel. I think it was a Nardi steering wheel, wooden steering wheel. Now worth a lot of money, but not on the car anymore, sadly. It must have been sold on because somebody saw a profit in it or something. But it's so nice to be in an MX-5. This has got a Pioneer head unit for your Apple CarPlay and other stuff. I've recently fitted a CarPlay head unit to my car, actually. Fun fact. But this is nice. Back to basics. You, the car, the road. I love this. It's so nice to be back in one of these. Okay, viewers, I have a bag of tetanus. So this here is the rear inner sill of this car, believe it or not. I'm actually going to come up close. Here it is. You can get a closer look here. This is what the rear inner sill looked like before it was, restored by Mazda dudes. And it's weird to think, this is awful. This is really bad. Doesn't look like this anymore, though. That's a good piece of the car. This is a good piece of the car, Ryan says. So the rest of the car, my word, what was it like? And this is, what did you say it was? It was the inside of the chassis. So you take the sills off. Yes. And you've got the chassis inside, and that's basically the bottom bit of the chassis. Yeah. Which is rotted away. Inside of the chassis. There's a bit of close up there for you. I can't believe it. This is. Yeah, hopefully this is the first and last bag of tetanus I ever touch. I'm going to leave that there. It's now all over my fingers. The car's immaculate now. It looks fantastic, and I think, going for the red again, on a day like today, blue sky, beautiful, it really pops. It's lovely. But I know all of you viewers are at home now on your sofas or on the toilet or whatever you're doing, wondering how this car drives. So I think, Ryan, should we hit the road? Because yes, it sounds good as well. It's got twin tailpipes. It sounds amazing. That's fantastic. We're out on the road now in Mazzy. Here's Ryan. Hi. Subscribe and follow him on Instagram. He's a great guy. And quite frankly, if you've got an MX-5, you're going to be a great guy by default. Yeah, I do agree. Unless you decide to body kit it and put bags on it. Yeah. Which I don't personally agree with. But look at my hair. Put my head over the windscreen like that. You're quite tall, aren't you? So you're exactly. Because I'm only 5'8". Yeah. I'm quite short, really. So I'm 6'2". My head's well below the top of the head. So. Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. See those pop-ups again. 15 years. So I'll tell you a little story. When I was 3 or 4 years old, when we had ours, I used to literally leave the house, go to our MX-5 and spend like entire afternoons just pressing the pop-up headlight button because I found it funny. But I think that's what makes this car so good. It is just a funny car. And we saw loads of, you know, kids on walks and stuff, you know, at that car park, and they all look at the car smiling, even adults as well, because how can you not? Yeah.
A quick car is something like this. A slow car is something like the Mate's 1 litre course, which is
Yeah.
60 and 18.5 seconds.
Yeah.
That's a slow car. I apologise, Dylan. His favourite YouTuber and me roasting his car in the same video is not
Hi,
good.
Dylan.
Right. So, yeah, that's a slow car. This is like... The
Doesn't
Panda
feel
100
like
horsepower
it.
is not a slow car.
No, no.
I mean, it's probably not... I wouldn't say it's the first car.
No,
but then it's not a slow car.
But it's got
at
the
all,
balance,
anyway.
and obviously because you've got a louder exhaust, and obviously today you've got the roof down as well.
It feels
the
like
drama,
a million miles an hour.
the drama makes it feel exciting. And I think they are the best cars where you don't have to break the law to have fun. You can put your foot down for a long time and still be within the speed limit, you know, that's fantastic. So tell me, Ryan, when did you get this car?
So, I passed my driving test on the 3rd of December 2021, 17.
Yep.
And it wasn't the first time, I will say, by the way, just so you know.
Yeah.
I was quite unlucky, I will say. Anyway, it's a long story. It's a bit of sexism in it as well. So, towards men. Anyway.
Yeah.
Bought this on the 19th of December.
Yeah.
And it was genuinely literally changed my life because I had something to do.
Yeah.
Quite loud.
Yes, very loud.
And yeah, it was just a fantastic little car, and it was rotten. And I bought it off a young lad who I'm still really good mates with.
Yeah.
And he always said to me, he said, I only want to sell it to somebody who's going to do to it what it deserves, which is to not be skidding around the racetrack or broken for parts or anything like that. I want it to go on the road. He's very like me, he's into his cars, like into the sort of aspect where he'd rather restore them, but he didn't have the finance.
Yeah.
And he just went, I want it to go to somebody who's going to look after it. And I was a bit sceptical about a young lad driving to Chester to pick it up.
Yeah.
The car's actually from Southampton, so it spent all of its life in Southampton until September 2021.
It's a southerner.
It's a Savna.
It's a southerner.
I support Southampton United, Southampton football team.
Oh yeah.
Who are unfortunately not in the Premier League anymore. So yeah, he was a bit sceptical, young lad buying a car, this, that and the other. An MX-5 specifically because they're quite common with young people deciding to rag them about.
Yes.
And ever since then I've been messaging him saying, look, this is happening, and he's just been so grateful for us doing this as well. He's just said, like, you couldn't have gone to any better person to have it done. And my ultimate goal in November 2021, I went to the Classic Motor Show at the NEC in 2021. Didn't go in 22 because I was fiddling around with this rusty piece of crap, which is not now, but it was then.
It's a very nice car now.
It isn't a very nice car now. It's still a nightmare, but
yeah.
And these people are a bit too high up for this car, but never mind. And I went and I said to my dad, I said, one day in my life, my goal is to have a MX-5 in here on this stand, which is the MX-5 stand. And you know what he said to me?
What did he say?
He said, that'll never happen because you'll never have an MX-5 or the finance to be able to get a car in that good condition.
Okay. So you've very much proved him wrong there.
Yeah, so in November 2023, exactly 2 years later, my car was the main car, front of stage, on the stand at the MX-5 Owners Club at the Classic Motor Show at the NEC. Credit
to you. What a story. What a story.
Like, I never thought I would get to that point. Like, to have your car in the NEC, it has to be good. And everybody who came over was like, that is incredibly nice for an MX-5.
Yeah.
People. And I even had Luke Scambler come out of his way from the Auto Alex stand to come and see it, because he said to me on Instagram, he said, I'm coming seeing the car for definite.
Yeah.
And he said, and when we was there, he said to me, I'll get Taylor to come as well.
Yeah.
Taylor was so busy, you know, like photos and this, that and the other. And I was like, oh, he's not going to get a chance. And Taylor, I just see Luke, 6'4" Luke.
Luke is a great guy,
and,
absolutely great guy.
And Taylor and I think his other friend, Unos BRG is his Instagram.
Yes.
Theo, I think his name is. And they came and all made it out their way to come and see the car.
Yeah.
And we stood for for like 20 minutes, half an hour, just chatting about the MX-5, and they were like, how did you do this, that, and the other, and they said it was really clean. I was just like, the fact he did that, he's genuinely he's nicer than he comes across on camera as well.
Yeah.
Taylor. He's so funny as well.
I mean, they are such great guys, and I went through a few years of kind of forgetting about the MX-5 after we sold ours. But when Alex got his and he restored it, Phil on Car Throttle, really got me back into it. And it's been about 10 years now of wanting another one of these cars, but they've just got ridiculous, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But there is such a community around these cars, and I think that's what can make a car so good. That's why I love my Panda, because I've never met a Panda owner that I've thought, what an idiot, you know. There's always been nice people, and that's the same in the MX-5 community. I just think that's brilliant.
No, good little things. The driving experience of them is just like, you've got perfect driving position, your gear lever really close to you, and then you just let your down change. And it's just
Yeah, there we go. Whoa.
Ultimate goal with this is to get some throttle bodies
Yes.
for it.
Okay.
Then it'll sound even better.
Yeah.
Because it'll sound better from under the bonnet as well as out the back.
That's a very smoky scooter
Yeah,
over there, isn't it?
I think his scooter might.
I think the engine might have just given up. We'll see this as we're driving by now. That's a very unfortunate sight. I'd be turning the engine off if I was them. Oh dear, not great.
The plan is to, when it is fully finished, take it to the Nürburgring.
Yes, yes.
That is the car where all cars should go
Yeah,
at some point in their life.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't do what Phil did on the first time round
Brake.
and brake.
It won't do that.
It won't do that because you've done it properly.
And it's not going to have turbo. So.
Yes, exactly.
I've never been a fan of turbocharged cars though. If you run through the cars I like, apart from the 944 turbo,
Yeah.
all of the cars I would want to own will potentially own. But I would say 90% of them are naturally aspirated, 90% of them are rear wheel drive.
Yeah.
That's a big pot.
Wow, that's a big one.
Huge.
That's a massive one.
We took it to Cafe in the Machine as well. It was for a bit of filming.
Yeah.
For a YouTube called Nightfall Drives. That was really good fun.
Yes.
And
I'll leave the link in the description,
got-
viewers, if you want to check that out.
yeah, we got some amazing sound clips.
Yeah.
Of this car. And I actually had a crisis.
Yeah.
I was like, that makes such good noise, because I've never heard it from the outside.
Yes.
Because obviously I'm inside. You know?
Exactly. That's what I always have with the Panda as well, because obviously I've got a roof on my Panda, so it tends to, silence the noise a bit.
Convertible Panda.
Convertible Panda. There we go. There's an idea for the next video. Just angle grind the roof off it.
I turned my Panda into a convertible.
Convertible Panda. Makes me laugh. My hair in this car.
Mine's probably quite bad.
It's going to be all over the place by the end of this drive.
But it is such good fun. I mean, I do recommend them. The problem is you get one that's been fully restored like this now.
Yeah.
They're a tiny penny.
Yes.
So the Unoses tend to fetch a little bit more money.
Yes.
They're better equipped. So this is the base spec, windy windows, no power steering.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I wanted. Also, by the way, I didn't just go for that because it was the one that was available. I wanted that specific spec.
Yeah.
Because I wanted it to be as light as possible, so it could be as fast as possible when we tune it.
Yes.
So, because there is quite a bit of a weight difference, really.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I was like, that was my goal.
Makes sense to go for basic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what a car and what an experience to be out in one of these again.
And also with the roof off, I'm not.
I know.
This July, I'm like, it's such good fun.
I messaged Ryan yesterday saying it might be roof off weather, and he was like, "Well, do you want me to take the roof off?" And I was like, "Oh, it might be a good idea." It's paid off.
Because I never have it off.
Yes.
Like, just because it's not had the weather, so I was like, you know what, it's gonna be nice. It's a bit cloudy now, but it's not gonna rain. Hopefully, I'm still putting the soft up.
Yeah.
I'll just get a bit wet.
A bit of a bump here. Well, credit to you, Ryan. What a car.
Ooh,
That's not
that?
nice. Bit of a bump at the back end.
I don't know what that was.
No.
I think it's the chassis rails. The stainless ones I've got.
That's convincing, isn't it?
No, they'll be fine.
So there we are then, a real trip down memory lane, and so nice to be around one of these cars again. It's made me really want one, even though it's probably quite unattainable now, to be honest. But it's interesting actually, a lot of people do a comparison online. They say MX-5 versus Panda. Now a lot of people are going to have very conflicting views on that. But I've heard many people say the Panda is the front wheel drive MX-5 and whatever, and I can see what they mean. But I think in a Panda you're never going to get the same experience you get in an MX-5. Obviously rear wheel drive, no roof. And no, we're not actually going to cut the roof off. That'd be an absolute nightmare. Some structural rigidity issues there. But yeah, so nice to be around this car and see it for the first time. And a pleasure to meet Ryan as well. I'm going to leave his channel link down in the description below. So do go check it out. Follow him on Instagram as well, because he posts many pictures. So if you want your Instagram feed to be blessed with Mark 1 MX-5 content, then he's the guy to follow. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel and follow me on social media at DanielCars05, and I will see you very soon with another car, whatever that may be.
He put, is that Daniel Drives? I put, yes it is. He put, why didn't you tell me I will murder you?